From a satellite's view, this corner of Spain looks snow-covered. But what you see isn't snow. It's the world's largest concentration of greenhouses stretching for miles across the landscape. Welcome to Almería, a place where more than 15,000 greenhouses cover 33,000 hectares. Here, in the middle of arid mountains and desert plains, Spain has built a vast vegetable factory the world now calls the Sea of Plastic. The scale of these greenhouses is so immense that it creates a surprising effect. Scientists at the University of Almería discovered that the greenhouses are actually cooling the region. Their white plastic roofs reflect sunlight back into the atmosphere, pushing local temperatures down by about 0.3 degrees Celsius per decade, while nearby parts of Spain warmed by 0.5 degrees Celsius over the same period. Once dismissed as barren wasteland, this land now produces crops year-round. More than 3 million tons of fruits and vegetables leave here each year for Europe's biggest markets, Germany, France, and the UK. In just one generation, the province has pulled off an economic miracle, rising from one of Spain's poorest regions to one of its richest. So, what is Almeria's secret? And could this model change the way we think about the future of farming? In southeastern Spain, the province of Almería looks nothing like the lush farmland that feeds much of Europe. This is one of the driest regions on the continent. Annual rainfall averages just 200 millimeters, compared to roughly 640 millimeters in Barcelona. Winters, however, are mild, with daytime temperatures staying between 12 and 14 degrees Celsius. Nowhere else in Europe offers the same combination of dryness and gentle winters, making Almería uniquely positioned to farm the desert all year round. In the mid-20th century, Almería was among the poorest provinces in Spain. Its barren landscapes were so stark that filmmakers used them as stand-ins for the deserts of the American West in Clint Eastwood's classic westerns, or for the sands of North Africa in epics like Lawrence of Arabia and Patton. The barren desert once took more than it ever gave. Then came a simple yet revolutionary idea. Farmers began covering their fields with sand and mulch. Suddenly, the soil held onto moisture and stayed warm through the night. Crops started to grow. When plastic arrived, it was used to build the first rudimentary greenhouses. That was the birth of a new kind of agriculture, one that would transform the entire region forever. By the early 1980s, the experiment had transformed into an industry. Fertile soil was trucked in from other regions, and drip irrigation and hydroponics became widespread. Instead of growing directly in the ground, farmers shifted to sacks filled with a mix of sand, clay, and manure. Today, about 90% of Almeria's produce comes from these artificial substrates, a system that delivers consistent harvests with remarkable efficiency. At the heart of this transformation was water. About 80% of irrigation still comes from underground aquifers. But compared to traditional open field farming, Almeria's greenhouses use 6 to 7 times less water to grow a single kilogram of produce. Unlike the glass greenhouses in the Netherlands that burn fuel to stay warm through the winter, Almeria's plastic-covered greenhouses need no heating at all. They rely entirely on the sun, making them far more cost-efficient. Greenhouses work far more efficiently than open fields. In Almería, a single hectare under plastic can be about 30 times more productive than the average European farm. That's why this model is often referred to as intensive farming. In the greenhouses of Almería, a handful of crops dominate the landscape and power the province's economy. Bell peppers lead the way, bringing in over 1 billion euros in sales in 2024, followed by tomatoes, which reached 908 million euros the year before. Cucumbers added 692 million euros, watermelons 478 million euros, and zucchini about 373 million euros. Together, These 5 crops form the backbone of Almeria's agricultural exports, helping Spain secure its place as the largest exporter of fresh fruits and vegetables in Europe. In fact, this province alone produces more than 1/5 of all Spanish crops. The structures themselves are deceptively simple. Over 90% follow the so-called Almeria-type design. Lightweight metal frames reinforced with tensioned steel cables, all wrapped in polyethylene film. For just 60 to 70 euros per square meter, farmers can set up a fully functional greenhouse, complete with irrigation lines, water tanks, pumps, and basic climate systems. A low-cost solution that allows small farmers to compete on a continental scale. But the work inside these greenhouses is anything but simple. More than 78,000 people work here, many of them migrants from Morocco, Mali, and other African countries. In summer, conditions can be brutal. Temperatures climb above 45 degrees Celsius. To cope with the heat, growers coat the greenhouse roofs with a layer of chalk, which reflects sunlight and helps lower the temperature. When it's time to let in more light, farmers wash the coating off, restoring the greenhouse's transparency. This system is built on cooperation. Farmers harvest together and sell their produce through cooperatives to supermarkets across Europe. The model not only stabilizes incomes, but also ensures that even the smallest growers have a place in the market. Almeria's biggest customers are close by: Germany, France, the UK, the Netherlands, and Italy. Proximity matters. Within days of harvest, produce is stacked in supermarket aisles, feeding more than 500 million consumers. In 2007, Almeria was shaken by scandal when traces of isophenphos methyl were found on exported peppers. The discovery exposed the risks of relying too heavily on chemicals. From that moment, growers turned toward biological pest control, reshaping the region's farming practices. Today, pesticides are rarely used here. Instead, farmers rely on living defenses. One of the most effective methods is the use of banker plants, special plants grown inside and around the greenhouses. These plants attract beneficial insects that feed on pests while leaving tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers untouched. Other biological allies play their role. Encarsia formosa and Eretmocerus mundus, tiny parasitic wasps that suppress whiteflies. Amblyceus swirsky, a predatory mite that targets thrips. And Aureus laevigatus, a small predator bug that feeds on both thrips and whitefly. The results are striking. Crops grown under Almeria's plastic sea carry no pesticide residues. They are clean and built on balance with nature. But despite the impressive efficiency of Almeria's greenhouses, that success comes with challenges too. Every year, the plastic-covered structures generate staggering amounts of waste. The roofing film alone is replaced roughly every 2 years, producing more than 33,500 tons of discarded plastic annually. Some of it ends up in unregulated landfills, polluting the surrounding desert. A few years ago, the problem made international headlines when a dead sperm whale washed ashore on Almeria's coast. Inside its stomach, scientists found 17 kilograms of plastic, mostly greenhouse film. In recent years, local authorities and cooperatives have begun to address the issue. Recycling facilities are expanding, and today, roughly 90% of the plastic waste from Almeria and neighboring Granada is collected and processed. Yet the sheer volume of waste means the challenge is far from solved. Working conditions are another uncomfortable shadow behind the so-called miracle of Spanish vegetables. Many of the workers are migrants from North and Sub-Saharan Africa. They live in makeshift settlements known as chabolas, built from greenhouse scraps, without access to clean water or basic sanitation. A government report put it bluntly: without cheap labor, Spain's agricultural export boom would never have been possible. Behind Europe's neatly packed vegetables is a production model that thrives on constant experimentation, adaptation, and hard work. At a time when the world is grappling with both rising food demand and a deepening water crisis, Almeria's greenhouses stand out as a powerful example. They show how to grow abundant harvests with minimal water. Once written off as a barren desert, this region now produces millions of tons of fruits and vegetables, boasting some of the highest yields per acre anywhere in Europe. Studies have shown that agriculture is the single largest driver of deforestation worldwide, with farmland expansion responsible for massive habitat loss. Yet Almería demonstrates another path. Instead of cutting down forests, it is possible to grow more food on less land by maximizing productivity in controlled environments. By combining efficient irrigation, climate-smart techniques, and innovative greenhouse design, Almería has turned scarcity into abundance. Its story suggests a global lesson. With the right technologies, regions once deemed unfit for farming can become engines of sustainable food production for a crowded planet.